Ruth McCracken and Trissetta Washington, two top-notch career and business strategists, are here to help you defy standards and break boundaries. Join them as they share powerful insights that have already impacted thousands of people and will have a major impact on your career, life balance, and business.
Hey. Great day. Happy New Year, Trissetta. This is our first time actually meeting live. Hey, girl.
It's the first time we're seeing each other this year. It's so good to see
each other this year. It is always good to see you, though we were just hanging out behind in the studio together, just catching up and listening to hearing each other's stories and bringing ourselves back here to breaking boundaries. Listen, everybody, if you're coming in, you're going to want to hold on to your seats and maybe even grab whatever you call you're drinking on, and grab some friends too, because we want to make this series is going to be very intimate and personal, but most importantly, it's going to tie into what our topic is: happy endings and new beginnings. Right, Trissetta?
Yes. I mean, we just closed out 2023. 2023 ended. It is no more. It is in the past. And there's a lot of excitement around the start of a new year, because we kind of feel like we get to do a reset, like a clean slate. And there's a lot of people who are excited and motivated right now. I know you were talking beforehand about how there's tons of people in the gym when you went in this morning.
Oh my gosh. And I gotta tell you, I gotta be honest, I'm excited that you all are there. I'm excited that you all putting your best foot forward. I was just telling Trissetta, how do we hold on to that? How do we stay committed? Because we as the days progress, as time prolongs, am I going to still stay committed? So that's going to be similar to what we're going to talk about today too, right? When we're talking about new year, new alignment, being that it's a new year, we get all the fuzziness, all the great ambitious and tenacity to want to push forward. The question is, how do you push forward and continue? So as we know, we're just 2 weeks in to the start of the new year. And for all that you're coming in, how many of y'all, let us know in the comments, have you even taken activity on what you may put down as a new year resolution? Is it natural for you to maybe do that? So we want you to draw your attention on the idea of a fresh start. Not just the idea, but also how to go through the change and the process in a positive way, right? Even if it's uncomfortable. So in this 2-part series that we're going to go together, we do not want you to miss it. We want to delve in a very huge matter, because it matters to us. It matters to us that you're wanting to bend time. You want to be in alignment. You want to leave some sort of footprint or blueprint on, am I going to take advantage of 2024? I don't know if I took full advantage of 2023. We're going to talk about reflecting on that if you haven't find yourself reflecting yet. And what ways can you embrace your past experiences? What ways can you then say farewell for old habits, old things, behold, when we die from self every day, we're just talking about that. I was like, it's almost like death. And I was like, well, yeah, because we die from self every day for those who were spiritually. And I'm saying spiritually, like old habits, just ways of shifting your paradigm. What else, Trissetta, what's the significance around our series today that we just want to kind of just share with people, letting them know that, hey, although we're now creating a new space of happy endings, what can we then share with them on what that is as far as the significance?
Yeah. So when it comes to kind of saying goodbye, right? And we specifically wanted to say happy endings, because a lot of times when things end, we want to feel sad, or we may look at it as a negative thing. But one of the beauties of an ending means that there's a new beginning on the other side of that. And so endings and beginnings really hold this profound significance in our day-to-day lives, right? They signify the closure of chapters that have served their purpose, right?
Absolutely.
And kind of the promise of what is to come, the promise of the opportunity that lies ahead. And so whether it's saying goodbye to the past year or letting go of habits and mindsets that no longer serve us, these moments really kind of mark the evolution of our journey, the evolution of our stories. And so over the next 2 weeks, we're we're going to be exploring kind of this art of reflecting, right? So taking stock of what we've achieved over the last year, what some of the challenges were that we might have faced, and even and gleaning from that the lessons that we've learned along the way. So this is a time for you to celebrate, right? To celebrate your success.
Yes,
Because
absolutely.
oftentimes we don't stop and pause to celebrate what we've accomplished. We just move on to the next goal.
Mm-mm.
So we want you to take time to celebrate your successes and then set some really positive intentions for your futures. And then next week, we'll start to talk about how, kind of guide you through the process of
Mhm.
letting go. Like, because, change can be a little bit tricky. It can be a little
It
uncomfortable.
really
But
is.
it's a
It's not easy. It's not easy. Let us know in the comments that you know to be true that
process that you have to go through.
it's not easy. No, I was just elaborating on what you just said, releasing that, from the past and things of that sort. It's not going to be easy. No one's not going to tell you it's going to be a simple process when it comes to releasing. Yes, it's simple steps, but it's
Right.
not easy to go through it. Let me make that be
Right.
clear. Yeah.
I love that you said that. The steps are easy, but the implementation is where we get tripped up because it's uncomfortable. We're
Yes.
stepping into the unknown and doing something we've not
Yes.
done before. And a lot of times we want to kind of
Exactly.
stay with what we know, with the
Yes.
uncomfort of where we know or the
Why
discomfort of
not?
what we know, rather than stepping
Right.
into the discomfort of what we don't know.
Well, we don't know. I love that.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and just dive in because oftentimes when we're talking about here today is because we want you to start reviewing. And for me, for example, when I go back, I did back in I would say the second week of December, even before that, when I was reflecting on my year and just after speaking to my friends and close loved ones, I did a visual board, and I also did a visual, and I even talked about it on a previous broadcast, and actually putting it on a digital as well, where I get to just craft different photos and images. And I put it into like 5 categories. I talked about personal, family, marriage, my wellness when it comes to my wellness, my business. And so where I'm getting at, and I wanted to compartmentalize it in a way where I'm specifically clear in each category. Some of you may find that to be useful as well. If you don't know, you may have this big old vision, but not sure on how to be able to reflect it, how to be able to insert it in bite size. And I love that the fact that you mentioned in behind the scenes, Trisetta, slow and steady wins the race. So when
Yeah.
I'm having this vision board and I'm breaking it down and being specific and adding some photos, and then sometimes I want to add some text so I can specify what exactly am I looking to execute or commission. But before I even did the vision board, I started reflecting on what are the things that I maybe accomplished and where are the things that I may have seen as a opportunity that maybe can help me move into what I would call as far as challenges and
Yeah.
opportunities. So acknowledging that to me helps you not just personally but also professionally. You want
Yeah.
to be able to summarize. So I did a brain dump and really not dismissed and really inserted everything that I've pretty much had as a milestone in 2023. Let me know in the comments if you have also find this to be value or you're going to want to do it now. Just because I
Yeah.
did it last year and just because we're 2 weeks in to the new year, it's not too late.
Yeah, no, and it's funny because I typically go through my kind of New Year preparation, planning, strategizing process Thanksgiving weekend. But because of everything that was going on with me, taking care of my dad, I just didn't have the mental capacity
Yeah.
to do that. So I have not even done my traditional New Year planning, strategizing, and reflection. But what I have done,
Mhm.
which is this is a little different for me this year, is that I reflected on where I've grown. So I looked back over the year that is 2023 and thought about different scenarios and situations
Yes.
where I would have been derailed in the past, or I would have responded in a completely
Mm,
different way, and
right.
noticed the areas where I have grown. Because I'm going to be honest with you. I feel like for me, 2023 was very much like a tale of two cities, right? The opening line
Oh
of
my
a tale of
gosh.
two cities. Like
Right?
it was the best of times, it was the worst of times, right?
Yes.
It really felt like that. And it's sometimes when we have very tumultuous years, it's
Yes.
difficult to see the wins. Like it's difficult to see um
Thousand
what
percent.
opportunities presented themselves. And so rather than kind of focusing there, I focused on how I grew as a person, as an
I
individual
like that.
through those
Yes.
challenges that I faced in the year. And so that might be something that, that you do as well. And so we're going to dive into we're going to
Yes.
share with you kind of a 5-step process that you can go through to review your year and your prior year and
Yes.
prepare for 2024 if you have not already done this. Do you want to
I love
take the
it.
first one?
So I think you might want to say I shared a little bit about it when you're reviewing
Yeah.
your achievements. Number one is review achievements and challenges, right?
Right.
So when you're going back, even if you're the type of person, you can use your notepad, your iPad, whatever you find to be true and comfortable for you. I say do a brain dump. I say really just take a fine tooth comb and just start summarizing some of your. I always say start with the good, the bad, and then the ugly. So go ahead and lay it down. Don't be afraid. Don't be shy. It may make you might. Let me forewarn you. This is my disclaimer. You may want to have some Kleenex. You may even want to have, whatever your favorite beverage might be, hot or cold. I just want to be upfront because it's going to be unease going through everything. Yes, accomplishments is great. Let's go with the good. And then once you acknowledge that, then you want to identify some of the opportunities or challenges that you perhaps want to go ahead and grow in, whether it be in your personal, your business, or your career. You do not want to neglect that. You want to be able to pause there. And I love that even in previous, because you talk about this a lot in productivity, doing a sheet, and we'll talk about that. I just do a brain dump. Do brain dump all of your accomplishments, and on the other side, do what maybe you know to be true that you kind of need some work with, whether it be your personal or your professional. What has been the different aspects? I want you to acknowledge that in both spectrums, your personal growth and as well as your professional growth. What has been some of your accomplishments? What has been some of your detours? What has been some of the things that you started but didn't finish when it comes to
Mm,
those certain challenges? And why haven't you finished it? Start maybe even evaluating, what was maybe some of the roadblocks or hurdles. And what else? Did you have anything you wanted to add into that? Because I think that could be definitely a great stepping stone on knowing where you've been in order to know where
yeah.
to go to next.
Yeah. No, I don't really have anything to add there, but
Okay.
in kind, right? So the next step would be to evaluate the goals and intentions that you set
Yes.
for last year, right? So you want to go through an assessment process of all those goals that you set at the beginning of 2023, those intentions, those resolutions that you set. And you want to, one, we talked about this a moment ago, like
Yeah.
celebrate your achievements. Take
Yes.
time to pat yourself on the back, to toot
Let's
your
go.
own horn, because like I said earlier, we tend to, as soon as we achieve a goal, we don't necessarily celebrate it. We just
We
move
don't
right on to the
celebrate
next.
it.
Okay, that's done. Let's move on to the next thing. No, take a moment and pause and celebrate all the things that you
Yes.
actually accomplished last year. And then any goals that you didn't meet, learn from them. Like, where did you
Yes.
identify, like, kind of where did you get tripped up? What happened? What got in the way? What were some of the roadblocks that came up that you did not prepare for or that you did not anticipate? Because
I
there are
agree.
some
I
things that we
agree.
do anticipate, right? So you want to go through that process and evaluate that, and you're going to use this information later as you prepare to set your new goals.
I can agree with you more. And the third one, my friends, you want to be able to assess relationships and well-being. I know this is gonna sound silly for a lot of people when you want to assess your relationship. I'm not saying to jump ship, but if you already did all the best that you can, whether it be in your job, your relationship, whether it be networking, whether it be with your friends that you grew up with, childhood friends, or even maybe recent close friends, whatever the case may be, I want you to fully assess it and give it your best. Give it
Mhm.
your best. And if you try that and now you've evolved and you realize that you're just evolved in a certain different direction, and maybe holding on to certain individuals or inner circles may not be of a great value or disservice. It might, I wouldn't say disservice, but maybe at this point in your life, you're wanting to just channel in what direction your future version of you is directing you to pursue. How do you do that? How do I know that I want to be able to do that? Well, we're going to dive in even more deeper on some of the actions on how to implement it. But for now, just reflect. What is in your, who's in your inner circle? What type of relationships and what type of person are you in that inner circle? How are you forming you? Are you seeing yourself growing and evolving with that way in a positive way? Or do you see maybe some challenges when it comes to you evolving some of the dynamics between the circle of your family, your friends, whatever the case may be? The main goal here is you want to go ahead and evaluate. Do a self
Yeah.
check. Do a self check, not just internally with you when it comes to your work life balance and your overall well being. Once you do that, because your self matters, you live with self every day. I always tell myself, I sleep with myself every day and I wake up with self every day. So therefore, I have to attend to myself. Myself is priority outside of my creator, the most high. And so if I don't self evaluate, you're going to hate who I become, period. And that's just bottom line. So I got to give us, so give yourself grace, give yourself the availability to what is that look like? What do I need to assess? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, the relation, and it's important. I love that you brought up not only the relationship with others, but relationship with self, right?
Yes.
It's important for, as a productivity and life balance coach, I'm all about the work-life balance and,
Yeah.
creating a life that caters to your overall well-being. So I love that you brought that element
Yes.
into the assessment process.
And if you
Um,
didn't do that in, let me, can I jump in really quick? Because
yeah,
it just stopped, it bumped in my, it just dropped in my head. It's in the past year, if you didn't find yourself doing what we're sharing now, you may want to even insert it into, matter of fact, it
yeah,
is a mandated that you do some self well-being care, whether it be self-reflection, whether you want to do it at the end of the week or at the end of the day. It matters, because how else will you see any type of growth if you're
yeah,
not intentionally scheduling time for self,
yeah.
scheduling time to just reset, recharge, and just regroup. So I just wanted
Yeah.
to insert that. If you didn't do it
No,
too
I
much
get that.
in the past year, you definitely want to maximize your time, because you don't get that back. You don't get that back.
No, you don't, right? Once time is a non-renewable resource, right? Like once it is spent, it is gone, right? You can make more money, but you cannot make more time. So you want to use your
Cannot make more
time
time. Mm-mm.
efficiently. One of the things that you were talking about, like scheduling. I'm a huge proponent of scheduling time for self. And several years ago, I think that was 2017, I made a
Mhm.
decision to give the best part of me to myself. So when I get up in the
Yes,
morning, I
I
have
like that.
the first hour or two is dedicated to me. It is
Okay.
to my personal growth and development, spiritually, professionally,
Yeah.
emotionally, mentally, like all that, and physically, right? So
Yes.
really making sure that you have that time for yourself is super important. But anyway, I don't want to kind of get too far ahead because
Oh,
that
that's
we'll talk about it
good.
next
I
week.
love it.
But step number 4 is to, now that you have gone through and kind of assessed all these things and reflected on all these different aspects of your life, you want to go in and identify what were the lessons that you learned. Like just what I was talking
Yes.
about earlier. Identify what those lessons were that you learned and areas where you grew, right?
Yes. That's good.
What were some new skills that you acquired over the course of the year? Where
Yeah.
did did you find yourself uh cussing people out less than you normally do? Like whatever that thing is for you, whatever that thing
Listen,
is for you,
right. It could be small or big. We're not saying that it
right?
has to be so something new. It could be something that you maybe was holding on to and you know that it was passionate of yours, whether it be that new business, that new skill, that new training, or just maybe you wanted to start a new wardrobe. You gave yourself grace and decluttered everything out of your room and your closet. And now your growth in your professional growth, you wanted it to be able to, okay, I want to go ahead and dismiss, declutter so I can make space for the new stuff. So I can so if you're talking about, growing and what does that growth look like? It could be intangible or tangible.
Right.
And sometimes we
Right.
don't know the difference between the two. And that's something we can definitely talk about in the next phase when we talk about the actual implementation piece of it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, consider what those lessons are that you learned.
Mhm.
Consider any new skills that you acquired over the course of the year. And then, just simply reflect on your personal, like look at this through the lens of your personal life as well as your professional life. Oftentimes we tend to really focus on solely on one area of our life, whichever one that we really are
Yes.
intent on building. But
Yeah.
the beauty of growth is when you grow in one area, it impacts all areas of your life. You
All
can't grow
areas.
in one area without growing in other
Oh,
areas.
that's
You
good.
may
That's
not
good, good.
you may not have that exponential growth because you weren't really focused on that, but you can't help but to grow because like when you
Yeah.
expand, right? Think about this is
Hmm.
probably a really crude analogy, but think about like if you're eating junk food and and you're putting on weight, it doesn't just, yeah, your stomach may get bigger, but other areas of your body may put on a little weight as well. You don't get to
Yes.
dictate where the fat
Sometimes
goes
I
or where
wish I
the good
could.
goes,
I wish we could dictate. I
right?
probably put it.
Right. So as your body grows and expands from you eating all these calorie rich foods,
Yes.
the same thing happens to you personally and professionally when you're focused on one particular thing.
Yeah.
You grow and expand in other areas as well. That's the point that I'm trying to make there.
No, I'm with you.
You want to cover our last
Yeah. So last but not least, I really want you. I want you to zoom in and pay close attention to what I'm about to say because this one is going to have to be full of setting your intentions for the future. Oftentimes we find ourselves just basing, just, oh my gosh, I want to just accomplish it. You're trying to, it's like fighting with time or fighting with matter, where mind over matter versus mind over matter. The main thing here is as you finish going through reflection, you may even want to go back and hit the replay. We talked about ways on how to reflect, how to even look over through your accomplishments and also what's been some of the challenges. And we even went to deeper dive on the last four of the actual steps and keys that's super viable. It's part of scaling who you are. And then also how do you do that? By basing what we just talked about and now you're wanting to grab your future version of you and bringing her or bringing him into the now. What is your intentions and goals? And I know a lot of people have a lot of fear around, or there's a lot of myth around goals. And I'll talk about that on this as a whole different topic and a whole different segment all by itself. But you want to pursue something that's going to matter to you and also leave a legacy and how you're going to, become that highest version of you in the present. So yes, you want to create an action plan is what I would love for you all to take action in doing is create a plan with actionable steps that's going to help lead and guide you to that better and best version of yourself, whether it be in your personal, whether it be in your professional growth, in your career, or in your business. I oftentimes when I speak with others and other high performers, sometimes they get hung up on this part because they're so I shouldn't use the word addicted, but I fall short in that area as well. We get so addicted with doing what we're called to do in our 9 to 5 or just our day in the life, just working, 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 that we forget to do a actual intentional action plan with goals that matter. And then think about it. If you don't meet that goal, don't dismiss it. If it's something that holds dear to you, take steps. Join the race, my friend. Trust me, we have those success. How do you think successors are successors today? Do you think that they created a goal one night and then the next night it didn't go through that they gave up on it? It didn't take what, as we all hear, it didn't take Paris to be made in overnight. So why do we think that the tower, it didn't take to make that in one night? So it may take you weeks and years. The cost is what level of cost is it for you? and what level of intentions and time that you're wanting to put to the side for that. I know we've kind of covered a lot. Let us know, has
Yeah.
this been super helpful? Because this is massive. And oftentimes we tend to go 100 steps backwards without incorporating some of the intentions or the full intentions on how we're setting for the future. What ways are we
Yeah.
setting ourselves best for the
I
next
just
for
want
the
to
next
add to, the action plan
Yeah.
piece.
Go
When
ahead,
you,
please.
when you craft out your plan, like what are those steps that you're going to take in order
Yeah.
to create the momentum, right, to achieve the goal that you're after?
Yeah.
One of the ways that people tend to kind of fall off or not, they're not able to sustain their action plan is because they don't look at it.
They don't look at
Right, like,
well, they
you're
don't
not supposed to write an action plan and,
wow.
keep it in your notebook or
Wow.
shove it under in a drawer or, never look at the typed document that you ever create. Like,
Yes,
your action plan should be something that you refer to on a daily basis to ensure that
absolutely.
it should serve as the guide for what
Yes,
you put on your schedule to do for each day so that you're able to
yes,
create the momentum so that you're able to create the results that you're after, right? So an action plan is not,
absolutely.
it's not
That's
intended to be
good.
like a book that's put up on a shelf. It is intended for you to review it and look at it on a consistent basis so that you can take consistent action because
I like that.
consistency breeds predictability. And so when you are consistent in doing a particular action, then
Mhm.
you can predict what the result will be. But if you are inconsistent, then
Absolutely.
you're going to get inconsistent results. So you have to be consistent in
Yes.
doing the things so that you can have the predictability of the results and the outcomes that you're seeking.
I couldn't agree with you more. Let us
Yeah.
know. This is so, so good. You said it so well. Let us know that this is also giving you the opportunity to expand and take action, not just gathering. That's one thing about us. We like to gather and collect a lot of information, but how are we producing and how are we transmissioning that actual information, that value? Is this been valuable for you all? Let us know. We want to be able to allow you all to just not just go back and listen and write down some of the steps that we just shared with you, but we want you to go ahead and execute. And that's what we're going to talk
Yeah.
about in the next series, the part 2. We're going to talk about releasing and renewing. But for the moment right now, this year, everybody, being that it's the second year, we want you to go ahead and take action. We want you to be able to know that it's okay to have happy endings and it's okay to go ahead and enter into new beginnings. And
Yeah.
if this is you and you're wanting to know what does that look like, go ahead and start reviewing your achievements and challenges. Go ahead and evaluate your goals and intentions behind them. What are you looking to pursue? What some of the challenges are? And go ahead and assess your relationships. Check out your well being of yourself and your inner circles. Are they serving you or not serving you? And be honest with yourself. Sometimes we hold ourselves hostage and because of fear, because of resistance. We want to identify lessons. We talked about that as a recap and in growth. And then finally, setting intentions because we want to be able to be in full matrimony and full harmony with our future version of ourselves. So let's think about more about the future. Let's put some nest eggs for the future. Let's go ahead and start taking action, ladies and gentlemen. It matters. What else do you want to tell them while we wrap up and close? Because it matters that you all are activating. I don't just want to see y'all in the gym early on and then start to disappear as the year progresses. We want to help you all. Let's collaborate. Let's go ahead. If you are liking this, let us know because we want you to go back and replay it. Okay?
You know what? I have an ask before we close out.
Yes.
I want you to, if you are watching this and you've already set your goals or your intentions for 2024, drop at least one of them in the comments. Or if you're going to do this process, then come
Ooh,
back and
yeah,
drop in the comments one of your intentions, at least one of your
I like
intentions,
that.
so that because I want you to put it out into the atmosphere for accountability because you said it,
Yes.
because you put it out there. Someone's going to be watching and they're going to want to know, they're going to
Absolutely.
ask you, right? So, and even if you don't want to tell us, you don't want to put it in the comments, tell
Mhm.
someone what your intention is
Tell
because
someone
I promise you at some point they're going to ask you about it and you want to be able to say to them, hey, I'm making progress.
and do it afraid. Do it
Yes.
afraid. Do it. Listen, I'll be the first to tell you that I've done plenty of things afraid. I may still need to go back to certain lists of things that I've listed and just go ahead and take action, because it matters to us that you do it even when you're not comfortable doing it. So
Yeah.
as always, it's truly amazing to have you here, Trisetta. You've done an amazing job in sharing this with us. And let us know in the comments that you're going to take action more in 24. I want to see more of you all. I want to see you do more. And I want you to go ahead and take action more. Until next time, everyone.
Bye for now.
Join and subscribe with career strategist Ruth McCracken and business strategist Trisetta Washington to the Breaking Boundaries podcast each week. You too can experience the limitless potential of rewriting rules and creating an extraordinary future for your